Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to the lecture of statistical modeling. In this lecture, we are going to look at some of the functionalities which are associated with distributions. So, the first functionality that we are going to look into is the cumulative and the inverse cumulative distribution. We are then going to look at the density function followed by generating random numbers. So, let us look at the first functionality. So, every distribution in R has 4 functionalities. The first is the probability, which gives you the cumulative distribution function. It is denoted by P. The next is the quantile, which is the inverse cumulative distribution function, and it is denoted by the letter Q. Then you have the probability density function denoted by the letter D, and then you have generating random variables from a distribution denoted by R. So, the root name for each of the distribution is given here. You have norm for a normal distribution, binorm for a binomial distribution, Poisson for a Poisson distribution, and CHISQ for a chi-square distribution. So, these are the commonly used distribution. There are others as well, and you can look into the help menu. So, let us look at the cumulative distribution function here. So, for convenience, I am going to look at the normal distribution throughout this video, and first I am going to look at a left tailed normal distribution. So, if you can recall, on my right I have a plot of the normal distribution for a left tailed test. So, I am interested in finding out the area of the shaded region. So, the function that I am going to use for this is called P norm, because P returns the cumulative distribution like we earlier saw, and since I am interested in a normal distribution, I am suffixing it with norm. The inputs are nothing but the start value, which in this case is -1. The mean and the standard deviation are from a standard normal distribution, which is 0 and 1, and it is a lower tail test. So, I am just setting lower dot tail is equal to true. So, once you execute this command, you will see a value being displayed in your console, and that value that we have got here is 0.1586. So, you can also see this is the same value that is rounded off and displayed on top of the plot when you visualize it. So, that value is being rounded off to 0.159, but when you get it in a console from the command, it gives you with 7 decimal places. So, let us see instead of a left tail how to get a right tail distribution. So, again I am interested in getting the area of the plot. Again I am going to keep the start value as -1, mean as 0 and standard deviation as 1. However, since this is a right tail test, I am going to set lower dot tail parameter as false. So, once you do that, you will get a value of 0.8413 in your console, and that is the same value that gets displayed on top of the plot. So, till now we have seen for a left tail and a right tail normal distribution. Now, for instance, if I am interested in finding out the area between the boundaries, so I am going to basically calculate the area with a start value of 1 as a lower tail, and then I am going to subtract the area for a start value of -1 again for a lower tail. So, what I first basically calculate is this region, and then I subtract this part alone. So, if you do that, you will get the difference, which is nothing but the bounded values between -1 and +1. So, if you do that, you get a value of 0.6826 rounded off as 0.683 and displayed above the plot when you visualize it. Now, if I am interested in finding out the area of the tails, I have to give a similar function, but there is just a small catch, because in one part of the function in P norm, I gave lower tail equal to true, and in another part I say lower tail is equal to false, and wherever I am saying false I am giving a start value of 1. So, this is the small catch. So, if you run the command you will see a value of 0.3173 being displayed in your console, and that is the value that gets displayed on top of the plot. So, I have shown you only for a normal distribution. You can however do this for any other distribution. So, let us move on to inverse cumulative distribution function. So, under this function what we are really going to find out is the start value, which means given the area of the shaded region, can I really find the start value. So, instead of P norm I am going to use Q norm because I want to find the start value. So, I know the area of the shaded region, I am going to give that as the probability value. The mean is again 0, the standard deviation is again 1, and I am going to give the lower tail as true. So, if you do that you get a value of minus 0.998, which is very close to minus 1. So, the same can be repeated for a right tail test as well, and you can see you will get a similar value. You will not get 1 exactly because we have truncated the decimals after 9. So, you will get a value that is very close to minus 1. So, now let us look at a density function. So, what density function really does is, given a start value, can I find the corresponding probability density. So, that is what density function does. So, the prefix letter is d, and since it is a normal distribution I am using norm. So, it is d norm. Now, I know the start value which is minus 1 in this case, and I need to give a mean of 0 and standard deviation of 1. So, given a start value, the corresponding probability density is 0.2419. So, that we can infer from the plot. So, in this case you do not need to give lower tail or upper tail because we are just going to find the probability density value. So, now let us move on to generating random numbers from a given distribution. So, now I am going to generate 10 random numbers from a standard normal distribution, which means the population mean is 0 and the population standard deviation is 1. Now, the numbers I am going to generate, I am going to save it in V. So, V represents the sample of 10 numbers that we have generated. So, since it is a normal distribution, norm is the suffix and the prefix letter is R since it is a random number generation. So, I am going to give R norm, and the inputs to this function are nothing but n, which is how many numbers do you want to really generate from the distribution. In my case I have said 10. Again mean is nothing but the population mean from which you want to generate, which is 0, and standard deviation is the population standard deviation. In this case it is 1. So, below you have a small snippet of the 10 random numbers that are being generated. So, let us look at the sample statistics, which is nothing but the mean and the standard deviation of the sample V. So, if you compute the mean, you get a mean of minus 0.29. So, we can round it off to minus 0.3, and the standard deviation of the sample V is 0.9. So, if you see, the population mean is 0, but however the sample mean is minus 0.3. So, this is slightly away from the population mean, and that is because we have generated only 10 numbers. So, let us see, instead of 10 numbers, if we generate 100 numbers, let us see if the sample mean comes closer to the population mean. So, I am going to repeat the same procedure, and instead of n equal to 10, I am going to give n equal to 100. Now, I am going to compute the sample statistics. So, now I can see the sample mean is minus 0.08, which is really closer to 0, and the sample standard deviation has also improved and it is at 1.05. So, this tells you that the more the number of samples you have, the better they represent the population. So, to summarize, in this lecture we saw for a normal distribution how to get the cumulative and inverse cumulative distribution using P norm and Q norm. We also saw how to get a probability density function using the function D norm, We also saw how to generate random numbers from a normal distribution using the function R norm. We also looked at some of the sample statistics by varying the sampling numbers, and we saw how the sample value coincides with the true value for a higher sample number.